Jake had been in a committed relationship with Emily for a while, and things were good between them. They had shared countless memories, laughing together and supporting each other through tough times. Jake loved Emily deeply, and he knew she trusted him. They had built a strong foundation, one he never wanted to jeopardize. But one night, at a party with friends, everything changed. It started as an ordinary night of celebration. Jake and his close friends were hanging out, enjoying drinks, dancing, and just having fun. They were all a little tipsy, but everything seemed carefree. The music was loud, the atmosphere was electric, and Jake was just lost in the moment. He wasn't thinking about anything serious, just letting loose with friends and letting the alcohol take the edge off. As the night wore on, Jake found himself getting more and more intoxicated. His inhibitions lowered, and his ability to think clearly was fading. It was then that a girl, whom he didn't know well, approached him. She was visibly drunk, but somehow she caught his attention. She started complimenting him on his looks, talking about how she liked his facial features, his smile, and his eyes. It was flattering, and in his drunken state, Jake just thanked her with a laugh. It didn't seem like anything more than harmless conversation, and he thought nothing of it. But then, out of nowhere, the girl took his hand and led him away from the crowd. Jake, not fully grasping what was happening, followed her. It wasn't like he was looking for anything beyond that moment, but the alcohol had clouded his judgment. She pulled him into a more secluded part of the party, away from the rest of their friends. The girl kept talking, her words a blur as she leaned in closer. And before Jake could even process it, she kissed him. It wasn't a soft peck on the cheek or a brief moment, it was a kiss, lasting for a solid 5 seconds, enough to send shockwaves through Jake's mind when they pulled apart. He immediately pushed her away, his heart racing, and in that instant, he realized what he had done. He had kissed another woman, and the guilt hit him like a tidal wave. He was disgusted with himself. He had crossed a line, even if it was a drunken mistake. He pulled himself together quickly, telling the girl that he had a girlfriend, that he couldn't do this, and that it was over. The girl seemed to understand, backing off and letting him go. Jake quickly returned to his friends, trying to act like nothing had happened, but deep down, he felt a gnawing shame. The next morning, as he woke up with a pounding headache and a cloud of guilt hanging over him, Jake knew he couldn't keep this secret. He couldn't let Emily find out from someone else. She deserved to know the truth, even if it would hurt her. The night felt like a blur, but the guilt was crystal clear. He wasn't the kind of person to hide things from her, and he didn't want to build a relationship on lies, so, despite the anxiety eating at him, Jake decided to confess. He met Emily later that day, trying to muster up the courage to say what he needed to say. He didn't know how to start, or how she would react. He felt like a failure, ashamed of himself for letting this happen. When they sat down, he took a deep breath and told her everything. He explained that he had been drunk and that a girl had kissed him, but he stopped it immediately. He said he pushed her off and made it clear that he had a girlfriend, and that nothing else happened. But even as he spoke the words, Jake knew he wasn't telling her everything. He wasn't being fully transparent. He had told her the most important details, but he had left out the part where he had actually kissed the girl back, even if only for a brief moment. He told her that he had been reserved, that he hadn't enjoyed it, and that it meant nothing, but deep down, he knew that was only part of the story. Emily's face was unreadable as he spoke. She didn't interrupt, didn't ask questions. She just sat there, absorbing his words. When he finished, the silence between them felt unbearable. Jake waited for her to say something, but she didn't. Instead, Emily stood up and walked out of the room, leaving Jake sitting there with his guilt and regret. He didn't know if she was angry, hurt, or just processing what he had told her. He felt like a coward for not being completely honest, but at the same time, he feared that if he told her the full truth, it would destroy everything they had built together. He didn't want to lose her, but he knew that withholding the full story wasn't fair to her. It wasn't fair to either of them. Days passed, and Emily didn't bring it up again. They carried on as if nothing had changed, but Jake could feel the tension in the air. He knew that things weren't the same. Emily had every right to be angry, confused, or hurt, but Jake wasn't sure how to fix it. He had betrayed her trust, even if it was in a moment of weakness. The guilt was suffocating, and Jake couldn't shake the feeling that he was living in a lie. He wanted to tell her everything, every detail of that night. He wanted to come clean, but he wasn't sure if it would help or just make things worse. Would she understand? Would she forgive him, or would it be the end of their relationship? Jake wrestled with these questions, feeling more and more torn. The more he thought about it, the more he realized that keeping this from her was eating him alive. But he also didn't want to cause her pain for something that happened when he was drunk. It felt like a delicate balance between honesty and protecting her from unnecessary hurt. In the end, Jake decided to wait. He would take the time to reflect on his actions, and when the moment felt right, he would tell Emily everything. He knew it wouldn't be easy, but he also knew that honesty was the only way forward. As difficult as it would be, it was the only way he could truly make things right and rebuild the trust that had been shaken by his mistake.